Hi, and thanks for logging on to the Daily DVAR Halacha. And here's a brand new halacha, 4 units for Friday, 19th day of October, 10th day of CHESHVAN. Here we go. New unit now, and this is about the laws of cleaning off garments on Shabbos. Okay, there is a malacha in our Torah called malabein. It's one of the 39 things that you're not allowed to do on Shabbos, and that is basically laundering. So washing, So washing is totally not allowed on Shabbos. When I say washing, I mean like that kind where you soak a garment and scrub out the dirt that's inside of it. That's called malabein. And some of the cleanings of garments that we will discuss now could be called a tolda, which means an offspring of laundering. Real laundering, as we just said, is when you use water. But if you're just removing some dust or something from, going like that, wiping something off of a garment, it could fall under that category and be called an offshoot of laundering. And so we have to discuss as to whether it's allowed or not to brush off things like dust from a garment on Shabbos. According to a quote in the Magen Avram, he says that it falls under the category of malabein, and he's the one who's most strict about it. And according to that opinion, even if a feather is lying against a piece of your material, of your clothing, or even a loose thread or something, and you just want to lift it off, that too would be called under the category of laundering and would not be allowed. Okay, but there's a second opinion. That's the opinion of Tosfos and a lot of the Rishonim, those are the rabbis from about 800 years ago. They say it's not laundering. Okay, that would put brushing off dust in the easy category and be lenient. But then there's Rashi's opinion, as explained by the Ramah, and he says something which we all end up following, and that is dirt that's trapped in the fibers of the material of your clothing, that's more closely associated with laundering, and you wouldn't be allowed to shake that off. But dirt that's just sitting on the material but not at all interwoven into the fibers, that would be allowed. The basic halacha follows this, the third way, Rashi's way, which is, one more time, that if some dust or dirt is lying on your clothing, but it's not trapped inside of the fibers, then there's room to be lenient. But that would be only if you would do it by hand or something, and you would just go like that, but not with a brush. No one seems to be okay with you brushing like that against the fibers of your clothing that have dust on them. Just a gentle flick with your hands, according to this lenient way of Rashi, that seems to be allowed. The Mishnah Berurah says that it's a good idea to just be careful to not let dust get onto your clothing on Shabbos, so you won't get into the problems of maybe being guilty of doing this on Shabbos. Like, for example, if you're wearing one of those black felt hats and you take it off and you want to put it on top of a bookshelf, but you suspect that it's all dusty up there, well, don't put it there, because you know when you pick it up there's going to be dust and you're going to want to brush it a lot. And so it's best to keep yourself out of this question on the holy day of Shabbos by not allowing big swaths of dust to land on your stuff by putting it carelessly in places where this is likely to happen. And one last thing, it's only really called laundering if it's something that really bothers you. In other words, it's so dirty that you say, oh, I can't go out like that, I'm so embarrassed. Then if it's just something that's kind of like, you could get away with it and you just want to give it a little flick, that's room to be lenient. If it's something, again, that doesn't fully bother you and you just want to give it a gentle brush with your hands, not with a brush, then there's room to be lenient. But you should be careful not to shake it vigorously, because then it comes right back close to the category of laundering. I hope that's clear. The general idea is that you can't use a brush when brushing stuff off of your clothing on Shabbos. You can't do it vigorously, and best only if it's with your hand. And best of all is to try not to let your jacket or your hat or whatever fall into dusty situations on the holy day of Shabbos. Thanks for logging on. Log on again after Shabbos for more. Bye-bye.